Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on The Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on The Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. A real pleasure of mine tonight to introduce you to Allison Morris, who is a friend of mine, an incredible jazz performer. She's a Toronto-based vocalist and songwriter. She was raised in Chatham, Ontario, and she sings jazz, and she rearranges pop standards, and she writes her own original songs. And I got to tell you that her command of singing, the depth of the feeling that comes through her singing, and her, I think musicality is the word that I've heard to describe it, on old classics as well as sort of new songs, is amazing. And if you ever get a chance, I've heard her at the Jazz Bistro, I've heard you at the Paint Box, and you say at a corporate event, maybe I was drinking too much, I can't remember, I don't know, but you have got just an amazing voice.
Oh, thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, it's such a pleasure.
So tell me, how does one get started as a jazz performer? Like, you know, I can understand, you know, wanting to be a pop singer or a rock and roll player, but like, why do you choose to be a jazz singer?
Well, I'm Welsh for one, so I have music in my blood. And my mother, she had Sarah Vaughan albums and Nat King Cole albums and Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, and I used to listen to those all the time when I was growing up. And I just loved jazz. I loved, actually, because I'm from Chatham, which is very close to Detroit.
Right.
I was a big Motown lover. The Isley Brothers, Al Green. I loved gospel, Sly and the Family Stone. So I had a little bit of, you know, the pop influence.
And when was the first time you sort of got up on stage and sang a jazz song?
Well, when I was a kid, I did musical theater as well. When I was about 15, I got up and sang in this show called Breadline Blues, and I did this blues number, and I'm like, wow, I love blues music too.
Yep.
And I did things in the musical world in high school as well, so that was always fun.
And you're a pianist as well.
And I'm a piano player. My mother, I bothered her for years to get me a piano, and she finally did get me a piano, and I had a piano in my room. I moved all my clothes out of my closet. I pushed the piano in the closet, and I would spend hours and hours just singing and making up songs and writing when I was like 10.
And you've recorded 2 albums?
I've recorded 2 albums so far.
And the third one's underway, I understand.
Yeah, the third one, I was just out in BC. I'm writing with a beautiful singer, Belinda Metz. She's working out of Nashville. So we're doing a little different approach this time. My first album was very standards driven. I wrote a couple of songs on that. You know, the songs were Nearness of You, I Wish You Love, Windmills of My Mind, and I did the Joni Mitchell song, totally rearranged, Both Sides Now.
Oh, really? Okay. I love that.
So that was gorgeous. But then I met Vazy Tayeb, who is the musical audio engineer for Kensington Sound, and he said, you know, let's do this album. So it took 2 years. Basically,
2 years?
2 years to do it because
record an album. Is that typical?
And it wasn't during COVID either. It was back in like 2006. I actually, I have a background in healthcare. I worked at Women's College Hospital for the neonatal intensive care unit as the data analyst, and then I moved to Sunnybrook Hospital and working with the Women's and Babies program there for 28 years. And I have always been involved in music. For 13 years, while I was working and having a child, I did this big show called Life Beat, and basically what Life Beat was, it was at the Premier Dance Theatre, and it was like a 5-day run, and you had to audition for it, but you had to work as a doctor, an OT, RT, and you had to be good because it was a charity event,
yep.
and we had different charities every year. Eugene Levy came from Schitt's Creek, and we did Gilda's Club. That he was part of that to help raise money for Gilda Radner's. That's a family support center for cancer victims, and then Rick Hansen came. Rick Hansen was the spinal cord. He had a spinal cord injury, and all our money went to spinal cord research. You know, Rick Hansen.
Yep.
Took his wheelchair all across Canada,
right.
So that was such a feat. And then we did. Michael Burgess came. He did a lot of Mervish productions, and
so this charitable participation sounds like it's been one of your passions.
Oh, it's been an incredible passion.
Really?
So that was kind of what I did in the late 1900s and 2000s. I was doing that.
But roll back if you could and tell me, how does like you described that you started performing. You were in musical theater. You were doing stuff. How does one become a jazz performer such that they actually record an album and start to sing in restaurants and bars and performance venues?
After doing all this charitable work, and I love doing it, the people there were so fantastic, I decided to take on my own solo career, and I always listened to jazz. And basically I went to Vasey, my producer, for the first album, and I wanted a demo CD done. So we did a 5-song demo CD, and so I went to all the bistros in town with this CD and had them listen to it, and I got the gig at, do you remember Whistler's on Pottery Road?
Yep.
I had the Wednesday night jazz night there, and what I would do is because I worked in healthcare and I didn't really know a lot of musicians yet, what I did was I had the gig, and I would bring in the best jazz musicians like Robbie Botosh and Bernie Sinensky. These are like Juno Award-winning pianists. And then I would have like Russ Boswell or amazing people, Red Schwager on guitar. But I would mix it up every week. I would have different players so that I could meet different, network with the musicians, and then the audience can have a different show every week.
Right.
And I had all my charts written out, and I had a repertoire of like 60 songs. So
60 songs?
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Oh, do you want me to sing it?
I would. I would love it. But we're going to take a break, give your voice a rest, take some messages, and come back and have you perform one of your favorite songs. Is that a deal?
It's a deal.
Sounds good. Here we are tonight with Allison Morris, a jazz performer. We're hearing about what it's like to sort of, become a performer in life. And I'm going to ask her also about what it's been like the last couple of years, because that's probably been a challenge. Stay with us. We'll be right back with her singing her favorite song.
Hello, I am Mia Nadeem. बहुत बहुत मुबारक हो सभी जीतने वाले पाकिस्तानी नवाब लिबरल कैंडिडेट को। मैं दिल की गहराइयों से इकरा खालिद, सलमा जाहिद, समीर जुबैरी, शफकत अली, यासर नकवी और पॉल शाम को मुबारकबाद पेश करता हूँ। मैं इस कामयाबी का सेहरा अपनी पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी को देता हूँ, जिन्होंने दिन रात मेहनत की। थैंक यू पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी।
Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on the Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Back to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. As we promised, Allison Morris, a jazz performer, is going to perform for us, sing for us, one of her favorite jazz songs. What are you going to sing?
It's called I Wish You Love.
Oh.
Beautiful, beautiful song.
And is this a cover or an original?
No, it's an original.
Oh, wonderful.
I think Natalie Cole sang it. A lot of people have sang it. It's an old, like, 1930s song.
I Wish You Love.
I Wish You Love.
Fantastic. By Allison Morris. Allison Morris.
Goodbye, no use in leading with our chins. This is where our story ends. Never lovers, ever friends. Goodbye, let our hearts call it a day. And before you walk away, I sincerely want to say, I wish you bluebirds in the spring to give your heart a song to sing. And with a kiss, much more than this, I wish you love. You really need a piano and a bass player and a guitarist. But that
was beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
And do you wish people love?
Of course I do.
Why is love important?
Oh my gosh. Love is the essential nutrient for our souls. Yes.
Love is the essential
that's a lyric.
nutrient for our souls. Is that a lyric?
It is a lyric.
From what? I love it.
Me. I'm going to write it.
It's perfect. Give me the credit. Brian inspired me.
Okay.
The essential nutrient for our souls.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a beautiful. That's a beautiful line.
Thank you.
So, are most of your songs love songs, or?
A lot of my songs are, written ballads, love songs.
Mm-hmm. You have an incredible vocal range.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is that trained, or is that just natural, or what?
Again, I'm Welsh. It's a inherent music in my blood kind of thing. Yeah.
Did you sing in choirs?
No, just musical theater.
No churches as a part of your background?
No, I like gospel music, but I never ever, we never went to church as a child, no. I was talking about the first album.
Yep.
And the second album, I actually met my producer at a summer party. His name is Asher Ettinger. And Asher just said to me, it's been 5 years since your first album, since the Paint Box Bistro and the Jazz Bistro event. And he said, we really need to do something totally different, use your voice. As you said as well, I have a pretty huge range. And he said, let's do a chill jazz, dreamscapey. I don't know if you know Portishead or Thievery Corporation or any of those kind of
chill
bar.
Jazz.
Yeah, they're like Buddha bar jazz. And he's a very eclectic fellow, and I'm pretty open to music in general. And so I went along for the ride, and we produced 4 cover songs. We did Imagine, the Lennon Imagine, but we flipped it up on its head, and it was almost like an underwater dreamscape. And he had me in the studio doing these layering over layering of scatting, but just...
What's scatting?
Scatting is vocal improv. You just... I think it dates back to when the jazz singers forgot the words and they would just sing skibbity-doo-bop-boo-doo-bop-bay, yeah.
That's scatting. Okay.
Scatting. So he had me go into the sound room and just get into my head and just feel the music and scat for 5 minutes, and then he pieced
5 minutes of saying
not 5, okay, maybe 3 minutes, and he just had me do these wild improv vocals.
Really?
And yeah, so that was Imagine, and then we did Ne me quitte pas. I had just returned from France, and I love the French sound, and I know petit peu français.
I think my favorite jazz song of all time is No Regrets in French. What's
oh yes.
Ne rien pas.
No, yes. I might cover that actually, but
tonight?
No, not tonight. I've done one. But yeah, Ne me quitte pas. Asher's actually from Montreal, so he helped me with my diction, and we recorded that, and that was an incredible tune as well. And then I wrote 2 songs.
Okay.
One, it's called "It Takes Two." It takes two to. It takes 2 souls. It takes 2 hearts. It takes 2 minds to love.
It takes 2 to love.
Yeah, and then the other song was called "Infinite Melody," and it was about longing for someone in your life, and it's a beautiful, beautiful song.
Infinite Melody.
Infinite Melody. One of my friends actually in France, he wrote poetry, and I said, send me some of your poetry. And it was in French, so I had it translated in English, and one of the words was Infinite Melody, and I thought, wow, that's a great title for a song. And then Asher and I got together and we developed the song, and it's beautiful.
I interviewed a jazz drummer the other day, and he said that the key to success was to have a message, that you couldn't just perform. And what he said is he brought people in. He's actually a instructor at Humber College, and he said,
Mark.
Yeah,
I
Mark
saw
Russell.
that.
and he said he would bring people in, and they would show their stuff, but then he would say, now go away and come back and show me your authentic self and give me a message. And he said if they can't give a message, then they don't deserve to be on stage.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Oh, totally agree with that. Mark Kels is a wonderful drummer and an incredible person. It's funny, you have to, when you're singing, you're telling a story. You have to know the lyrics. You have to know the meaning of that song, because you're delivering it through your voice, and you have to get it across to the audience for the audience to actually touch their hearts. You're touching their hearts with your voice.
You're touching their hearts with
okay,
your
that's
voice.
another lyric.
No, it's interesting.
It is.
I was chairman of something called the Mississauga City Summit. We had a child psychologist come in and say that arts education was critically important, and the reason why was for people that had challenges, anxiety, mental, health issues, whatever. They said that when words fail you, music can speak for you.
Oh, that's very true.
Do you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So what's the passion what's your message? What's your passion? Is it love? What is it?
Oh, geez, there's many passions I have.
In your music, I mean.
In my music, life in general, positive mindsets, love, growing as a person, motivation. What are my other songs?
If people want to check you out,
check
out your music. How do they do that? If they want to buy your album, how do they do that?
They can go. Well, I'm on YouTube, Allison Morris, Allyn Morris. I'm on Instagram, Allison Morris Music. I'm on Facebook, Allison Morris, and I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Bandcamp.
And
I think I covered it all.
Sometime soon you're going to be back at a jazz place downtown Toronto, and we're going to be able to come listen to you live.
I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I was at a CD launch. When was it? About 5 years ago? 7 years ago?
I was about 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was. You were kind enough to give me one of your CDs that night, and I do play it, and it's wonderful. So I highly recommend Allison Morris. Just wonderful music, and I got to tell you that she is inspirational and has this incredible range. But she's an inspirational artist to listen to, and so if you get a chance, check her out. That's our show for tonight. Thanks so much for joining.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम है बुशरा अंसारी। जैसे कि आप जानते हैं, इंडस हॉस्पिटल गरीबों का मुफ्त इलाज करता है और ख़ास तौर पे कैंसर पेशेंट्स बच्चे जो हैं उनके लिए बहुत काम करता है। सो आपकी मदद के बगैर ये हो नहीं सकता, इसीलिए मैं आपके पास चल के आ रही हूँ और कोशिश करूँगी आपको एंटरटेन भी करूँ और आपसे इंडस हॉस्पिटल के लिए हेल्प भी लूँ। तो आपसे मुलाकात हो रही है इंशाल्लाह कनाडा में, ज़रूर आइएगा, आपसे मिलते हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Join us on October 1st, 2021 at Apollo Convention Center in Toronto. For tickets and more information, contact us at 289-309-3895 or visit our website at www.indushospital.ca.